If you're taking amlodipine, losartan, or lisinopril every day, let me ask you something. Do you take your pill and then never think about it again? If so, you're certainly not alone. Millions of older Americans rely on these medications to help manage high blood pressure. They pick up their prescription from the pharmacy, take it with breakfast or before bed, and trust it's doing its job. And in many cases, it is. But here's what many seniors don't realize. Taking the medication is only one piece of the puzzle. Small everyday habits, some so ordinary you might never question them, can quietly affect how well your medication works, how you feel, and even the side effects you experience. Many people assume that if their blood pressure looks good at the doctor's office, there's nothing else to worry about. The surprising part is that some of the most important things happen between those appointments. A little dizziness when you stand up, swollen ankles that seem to appear out of nowhere, a dry cough that won't go away, feeling more tired than usual. It's easy to dismiss these changes as just getting older, but sometimes your body is trying to tell you something worth paying attention to. Here's where many people make a simple mistake. They either ignore these changes completely or they stop taking their medication without talking to their healthcare provider. Neither choice is the safest one. The good news is that understanding how these medications work and knowing a few practical tips can help you feel more confident, avoid common mistakes, and get the greatest benefit from your treatment. Some of what we're about to discuss may surprise you, especially if you've been taking one of these medications for years, because sometimes it's not the medicine itself that causes the biggest problems. It's the little things most people were never told. High blood pressure has earned the nickname the silent killer for a reason. Most of the time, it doesn't cause pain. It usually doesn't make you feel sick. In fact, many people feel perfectly fine while their blood pressure is quietly putting extra strain on their heart, brain, kidneys, and blood vessels. That's why medications like amlodipine, losartan, and lisinopril are so important. They aren't simply trying to lower a number on a blood pressure monitor. They're helping reduce your risk of serious problems like heart attacks, strokes, kidney disease, and heart failure. The challenge is that because high blood pressure is often silent, it's easy to underestimate how much these medications are doing behind the scenes. Imagine wearing a seatbelt. You don't notice it preventing an accident every day, but if the moment comes when you need it, you'll be grateful it was there. Blood pressure medicine works in a similar way. It's quietly protecting your body, even when you don't feel any different. But here's something many seniors are never told. These 3 medications may all treat high blood pressure, yet they don't work exactly the same way. Amlodipine helps relax and widen your blood vessels, making it easier for blood to flow. Losartan works by blocking a natural chemical in your body that causes blood vessels to tighten. Lisinopril also helps blood vessels relax, but it does so through a different pathway and is often prescribed for people with diabetes, heart failure, or certain kidney conditions because of its additional protective benefits. To most people, they're all simply blood pressure pills. But understanding that they work differently helps explain why 2 people taking different medications may have very different experiences. For example, one neighbor may mention swollen ankles, another may complain about a persistent dry cough, someone else may say they feel perfectly fine. That doesn't necessarily mean one medication is better than another. It simply means our bodies respond differently. This is why comparing medications with friends or family members can sometimes create unnecessary worry. Your prescription was chosen based on your health history, your other medical conditions, your lab results, and sometimes even the other medications you take. Now here's where many people accidentally create problems without realizing it. They start feeling better, their blood pressure readings improve, and they begin thinking, maybe I don't need this medicine anymore. It's an understandable thought. After all, if your numbers are normal, it feels like the problem has gone away. But in many cases, those healthy numbers are normal because the medication is working. Stopping it suddenly without medical guidance may allow your blood pressure to rise again, often without obvious symptoms. That's why healthcare providers almost always recommend talking with them before making any changes to your medication schedule. Another common misunderstanding happens after a single high reading. Perhaps you're checking your blood pressure at home. One morning, it's 128 over 76. The next day, it's 145 over 82. You immediately think, my medicine has stopped working. Not necessarily. Blood pressure naturally changes throughout the day. It can rise after climbing stairs, after drinking coffee, during emotional stress. Even rushing to answer the front door can temporarily increase it. That's why many healthcare providers recommend checking your blood pressure under similar conditions each time. Sit quietly for about 5 minutes. Keep both feet flat on the floor. Rest your arm at heart level. Avoid talking while the cuff is inflating. Those simple steps can make your readings much more reliable. Keeping a small notebook or using a blood pressure tracking app to record your numbers can also be incredibly helpful. Instead of reacting to one unusual reading, your healthcare provider can look for patterns over days or weeks. Those patterns often tell a much more accurate story. Here's another small habit that many people overlook. Take your medication consistently. Whether your provider recommends taking it in the morning or the evening, the most important thing is taking it the way it was prescribed. Some people keep their pills next to the coffee maker. Others use a weekly pill organizer. Some set a reminder on their phone or smartwatch. These simple routines can make it much less likely that you'll miss a dose. And if you do forget one, don't automatically take a double dose later unless your healthcare provider or pharmacist has specifically instructed you to do so. When in doubt, follow the instructions that came with your prescription or call your pharmacist for guidance. They answer these kinds of questions every day, but perhaps the biggest surprise isn't about the medication itself. It's about the everyday foods, drinks, and even over-the-counter medicines sitting in your kitchen or bathroom cabinet that may quietly affect how these prescriptions work. Many people believe that once they swallow their blood pressure pill, that's the end of the story for the day. But your medication doesn't exist in a vacuum. Everything from what you eat and drink to the pain reliever you grab for a sore knee can influence how your body responds. Let's start with something that surprises many seniors: over-the-counter pain medicines. If you have arthritis, back pain, or stiff joints, you may occasionally reach for medications like ibuprofen or naproxen. They can be helpful for short-term pain relief, but when taken regularly, they may make it harder to control blood pressure and can also increase the risk of kidney problems in some people, especially if you're taking medications like Losartan or Lisinopril. That doesn't mean these pain relievers are bad. It simply means they aren't always the best choice for everyone. Before using them frequently, it's worth having a conversation with your healthcare provider or pharmacist. They may recommend a safer option based on your medical history. Now here's another everyday habit that's easy to overlook: not drinking enough water. As we get older, our sense of thirst often becomes weaker. You may not feel thirsty even when your body could use more fluids. If you become dehydrated from a stomach illness, spending too much time in the summer heat, or simply forgetting to drink throughout the day, your blood pressure can drop lower than expected. You might notice dizziness when standing up, lightheadedness while walking the dog, or feeling unsteady after getting out of bed in the morning. Many people immediately blame their medication. Sometimes the medicine plays a role, but dehydration may be part of the picture too. That's why it's important to drink enough fluids unless your healthcare provider has told you to limit them because of conditions like heart failure or kidney disease. One simple habit can also help prevent falls. Instead of jumping out of bed, sit on the edge for a few moments, move your feet, take a couple of slow breaths, then stand up gradually. Those extra few seconds can make a remarkable difference if your blood pressure briefly drops when you change positions. Now let's talk about a side effect that catches many people off guard. If you're taking amlodipine, you may notice swelling around your ankles or feet. At first, it may seem strange. Your shoes feel tighter. Your socks leave deeper marks than usual. By evening, your ankles look puffier than they did that morning. Many people assume this means they're retaining dangerous amounts of fluid. In reality, mild ankle swelling is a known side effect of amlodipine for some people because of the way it relaxes blood vessels. That doesn't mean you should ignore it. If the swelling is new worsening, uncomfortable, or accompanied by shortness of breath, chest pain, or rapid weight gain, contact your healthcare provider promptly. Those symptoms deserve medical attention. But don't stop taking your medication on your own. Sometimes a simple dose adjustment or switching to another medication can solve the problem. Another side effect is especially associated with lisinopril, a dry, tickling cough. Not a cold, not allergies, just a cough that seems to linger for weeks. Many people spend months trying cough drops, herbal teas, or over-the-counter syrups without realizing the medication itself could be contributing. If that sounds familiar, don't simply stop taking lisinopril. Instead, bring it up during your next appointment or sooner if it's bothersome. Your healthcare provider may decide that another medication, such as losartan, is a better fit for you. The key message is this: never assume you have to just live with a side effect. There are often options. Sometimes changing the dose helps. Sometimes adjusting when you take the medication makes a difference. And sometimes another medication in the same treatment plan works better for your body. Here's another common misunderstanding. Some people think that because a product is sold without a prescription, it must be completely harmless. But cold medicines containing decongestants can temporarily raise blood pressure. Certain herbal supplements may interact with prescription medications. Even some vitamins or natural products may not be appropriate depending on your health conditions. That's why it's wise to let your pharmacist know about everything you take, not just prescription medications. Include vitamins, herbal products, sleep aids, pain relievers, antacids, even supplements you only take occasionally. Your pharmacist can often spot potential interactions before they become problems. One final point surprises many seniors. The goal isn't simply to lower your blood pressure as much as possible. The goal is to lower it safely. Blood pressure that's too low can leave you feeling weak, dizzy, or increase your risk of falling, especially as you get older. Finding the right balance is what matters, and that balance depends on far more than just the number on the blood pressure monitor. It also depends on a few daily habits that seem unrelated at first glance, but can make a meaningful difference in how well your treatment works and how healthy you feel overall. One of the most powerful ways to help your blood pressure medication work well doesn't come from the pharmacy. It starts in your kitchen. Many people think they have to give up every food they enjoy after being diagnosed with high blood pressure. That's simply not true. The goal isn't a perfect diet. The goal is making small, sustainable choices that add up over time. One of the biggest sources of sodium isn't the salt shaker sitting on your table. It's the packaged and restaurant foods many of us eat without a second thought. Canned soups, frozen dinners, deli meats, fast food. Even some breakfast cereals and breads can contain more sodium than you might expect. Here's the surprising part. Your taste buds can adapt. If you gradually reduce salty foods over a few weeks, many people discover they begin enjoying the natural flavors of foods much more than before. Instead of reaching for the salt shaker automatically, try adding flavor with herbs, garlic, lemon juice, black pepper, or fresh spices. These simple swaps can make meals satisfying while supporting healthier blood pressure. Now let's talk about something that often gets overlooked: potassium. You've probably heard it's good for blood pressure, and for many people, foods rich in potassium like bananas, oranges, potatoes, spinach, beans, and yogurt can be part of a heart-healthy eating pattern. But here's where many seniors don't realize there's an important exception. If you're taking losartan or lisinopril, or if you have kidney disease, don't assume you should take potassium supplements or use salt substitutes made with potassium unless your healthcare provider recommends them. These medications can sometimes increase potassium levels in the blood. Too much potassium can become dangerous, especially for people with reduced kidney function. This is one reason your healthcare provider may order occasional blood tests. Those lab checks aren't just routine paperwork. They're helping make sure your kidneys are working well and that important minerals, including potassium, remain in a healthy range. Many people don't realize those simple blood tests are an important part of taking these medications safely. Now let's shift to another habit that has nothing to do with food: regular movement. You don't have to join a gym. You don't have to run 5 miles every morning. For many older adults, a brisk 20 to 30-minute walk most days of the week is an excellent place to start if your healthcare provider says it's appropriate. Maybe it's walking the dog. Maybe it's strolling through the neighborhood after dinner. Maybe it's meeting a friend at the local park or walking laps inside the mall when the weather isn't cooperating. The key is consistency. Exercise helps your heart become more efficient. It supports healthy circulation. It can improve sleep, reduce stress, boost your mood, and over time, it may help your blood pressure become easier to manage alongside your medication. Speaking of stress, many people notice their blood pressure is higher at the doctor's office than it is at home. This is so common it even has a name: white coat hypertension. Just seeing a medical office, sitting in the waiting room, or worrying about the results can temporarily raise your blood pressure. That's one reason home monitoring can be so valuable. If your healthcare provider recommends checking your blood pressure at home, don't focus on getting a perfect number every single time. Instead, look for trends. A series of readings over several days often tells a much more useful story than one isolated measurement. Try checking it around the same time each day. Avoid caffeine, smoking, or exercise for about 30 minutes beforehand if possible. Sit quietly for a few minutes before taking the reading. And don't be discouraged if an occasional number is higher than expected. One reading rarely tells the whole story. Another habit that deserves attention is limiting alcohol. A glass of wine with dinner may fit into some people's lifestyles, depending on their health and their healthcare provider's advice. But drinking too much alcohol can raise blood pressure over time and may also increase dizziness when combined with blood pressure medication. Moderation matters. The same goes for smoking. If you smoke, every cigarette places extra strain on your blood vessels. Quitting isn't easy. But even after years of smoking, stopping can improve your circulation and reduce your risk of heart attack and stroke. If you've tried before and didn't succeed, don't think of it as failure. Many people make several attempts before quitting for good. Every attempt teaches you something. Finally, remember that blood pressure medication works best when it's part of a bigger picture. The pill helps. Healthy meals help. Regular movement helps. Good sleep helps. Managing stress helps. Keeping follow-up appointments helps. None of these habits has to be perfect. They simply need to become part of your routine. Because when you combine smart daily choices with the medication your healthcare provider has prescribed, you're doing far more than treating a number on a blood pressure monitor. You're giving your heart, your brain, your kidneys, and your future the best chance to stay healthy for years to come. And there's one final message that every senior taking Amlodipine, Losartan, or Lisinopril should hear, because it may be the most reassuring lesson of all. If there's one message I hope you take away today, it's this: your blood pressure medication is not a sign that you've failed. It's a tool. Just like wearing eyeglasses helps you see clearly, or using a cane provides extra balance, medications like Amlodipine, Losartan, and Lisinopril are designed to help protect your health, not define it. Many seniors spend years worrying about the fact that they need medication. But the real goal isn't to avoid medicine at all costs. The goal is to stay healthy enough to enjoy the moments that matter most. Walking through the park with your grandchildren, working in your backyard garden on a sunny morning, taking a road trip with your spouse, meeting friends for coffee after church, watching your favorite team on TV without being limited by preventable health problems. That's what good blood pressure control is really about. It's about protecting your future. Let's quickly review the most important lessons from today. First, remember that high blood pressure often has no warning signs. Even when you feel perfectly well, your medication may be quietly protecting your heart, brain, kidneys, and blood vessels. Second, take your medication exactly as prescribed. Don't skip doses because your numbers look good, and never stop taking it without talking to your healthcare provider. Third, pay attention to changes in your body: swollen ankles, a persistent dry cough, feeling dizzy when standing. These symptoms don't always mean something is seriously wrong, but they do deserve a conversation with your healthcare provider rather than being ignored. Fourth, be careful with over-the-counter medications, herbal supplements, and salt substitutes. Something that seems harmless can sometimes interact with your prescription medicine or affect your blood pressure. Fifth, don't underestimate the power of everyday habits. Eating a heart-healthy diet, staying physically active, getting enough sleep, managing stress, drinking enough fluids, if appropriate for your medical condition, keeping your follow-up appointments. These simple choices work alongside your medication, not against it. And finally, remember that your treatment plan is personal. What works well for your neighbor, your brother, or your friend at the retirement community may not be the right choice for you. Your healthcare provider considers many factors when choosing the medication that's best for your individual needs. That's why regular checkups and honest conversations are so valuable. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you don't understand why you're taking a medication, ask. If you're experiencing a side effect, speak up. If you're having trouble remembering your doses, mention it. Healthcare works best when it's a partnership. One of the most encouraging things about managing high blood pressure is that small improvements can make a meaningful difference over time. You don't have to transform your life overnight. Maybe this week, you decide to take a 20-minute walk after dinner. Next week, you prepare one extra home-cooked meal. The following week, you start checking your blood pressure at the same time each morning. These may seem like small steps, but small steps, repeated consistently, often lead to lasting results. Remember, you're not aiming for perfection, you're aiming for progress. Every healthy choice you make is another investment in your future health. Another walk, another balanced meal, another good night's sleep, another day of taking your medication as prescribed. Those choices add up. And perhaps the most reassuring thought of all is this: millions of older adults are living active, fulfilling lives while managing high blood pressure. They're traveling, gardening, playing with their grandchildren, volunteering in their communities, enjoying retirement. Managing blood pressure doesn't mean giving up the life you love. In many ways, it's what helps you keep living it. If today's video helped you better understand your medication and gave you a little more confidence in managing your health, consider sharing it with a friend or family member who also takes blood pressure medicine. A simple conversation could help someone avoid a common mistake or encourage them to ask an important question at their next doctor's appointment. And if you'd like more easy-to-understand, evidence-informed videos about healthy aging, heart health, diabetes, mobility, sleep, nutrition, and practical wellness tips for adults over 50, be sure to subscribe and join us again. Thank you for spending these few minutes investing in your health. Take care of yourself, stay curious, stay active, and remember, every small step you take today is helping build a healthier tomorrow.